We're going to start with Obamacare because everybody's freaking out. They should have used Squarespace, which is what I told them in the first place. The website is not working, and just to catch you up real quick, the government's back to work, or whatever it is that they do. Remember, they shut down for about 3 weeks because the House GOP didn't really want poor people to have health insurance because that would destroy freedom, the way I understand it. And now people are freaking because the website is not working out. And Kathleen Sebelius, who is the Health and Human Services director, she was on CNN with Sanjay Gupta last night explaining some of the problems. Let's take a look.
He did say that he was angry about this. I mean, do you know when he first knew that there was a problem?
Well, I think it became clear fairly early on, the first couple of days. That
So not before that, though? Not before
No,
October 1st? There was no concern at that point, either in the White House or at HHS?
I think that we talked about having testing going forward, and if we had an ideal situation and could have built a product in a 5-year period of time, we probably would have taken 5 years, but we didn't have 5 years, and certainly Americans who rely on health coverage didn't have 5 years for us to wait. We wanted to make sure we made good on this final implementation of the law. And again, people can sign up. Call center is open for business. We've had 1,100,000 calls. We've had 19 million people visit the website, 500,000 accounts created, and people are shopping every day. So people are signing up. And there's help in neighborhoods around the country that people can have a one-on-one visit with a trained navigator and figure out how to sign up. So people are able to sign up.
All right, so there's a lot of just typical PR BS there. I mean, she's just giving you answers that kind of maybe seem true. I thought the one thing that was really interesting, she said 1.1 million calls to the center, 19 million visits to the website, 500,000 accounts created, as if that was good. Does that seem like a lot? If 19 million people, you guys are web people, if 19 million people went there, did only 500,000 mean to subscribe? I mean, doesn't that show that something's not working?
That's a horribly low number. I think that the government must abide by Facebook's internal motto that done is better than perfect. Clearly they were happy with the website.
But it's a hard site to put together too. I mean, this is a big project that we're taking on. So we have to give a little bit of credit and say a little wiggle room in that thing to be able to just launch it right away?
Absolutely. I'm willing to go with the wiggle room thing. And, because the next thing that she said was that we're going to bring in our A-team to fix this. So who did they bring in to start this? Again, I got two web tech-savvy technological people here. Who do you think they brought in the first place to get this thing? Yeah.
The D team.
Where was Mr. T?
Why wasn't the A-team coming in at the first place? I think that's a great question. Now bring them in now, but so we'll see. It's the geniuses coming in now.
Yeah, apparently what I gleaned from that is that they've been using the same sort of technology contractors for a really long time, and they've gotten sort of lazy in their ability to code or something like that. They just haven't stayed up to date on current technologies, which is kind of, awful if you think about it.
The same contractors from like 1992 are still building all the sites.
I'm pretty sure they're using dial-up to get this thing going. I mean, it's pretty awful. What do you guys make of this thing about where she said, if we had 5 years to do this, it would have been a lot better, but people need health insurance now. I mean, they had at least a year. Really, how long does it take? I'm willing to grant them that this is a big project, but how long does it take to get a website up and running?
And I think it is a big project, but let's be honest too, it is just sort of a sign-up form in the end. So I do want to give everybody sort of the benefit of the doubt, but it is kind of even if you just redirected them to another site and then collected that little piece of information. Yeah. So I don't know. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, it's.
I mean, Riot could have built the technology for them.
We should have, and it would be a good contract.
Yeah. How many web people do you have?
I've got one genius.
Yeah.
And I think he could have done it, but I need him, so don't try to take him. He is the A-team. Yeah.
The government could pull like an eminent domain thing and steal him from you.
That's a good point. Don't tell them that.
Yeah. But I mean, really though, we're joking about it, but I mean, if you think about it, there are porn sites that are streaming video all day long, literally millions and millions of videos all day long, and they don't crash. So isn't this like the worst thing that could have happened to Obama? That something that his whole signature policy is proving to just unravel right in front of us.
Yeah, it's genius that you bring that up. I mean, porn has always typically pushed the envelope forward technologically speaking. So it's funny.
Maybe that's the A-team then. Is the porn guys?
That would be funny if all the porn sites crash now because all the tech guys
are just making calls to the Valley right now.
Exactly.
Send us your A-team.
The people behind Pornhub.
Yeah.
How do you know Pornhub?
I read about it
Okay, good.
in the Atlantic.
Pornhub, and that's .com.
.com, yeah.
Never crashes.
Yeah.
Never.
What do you
Never.
guys think about this idea where she said that, it's now come out that they knew for days that this thing was crashing, but that nobody told Obama. She said in that clip that we just saw, nobody told him for a couple days that this was happening. Do you think they purposely don't tell him anything? Because I feel like this has been sort of a consistent thing. So he can be like, well, I didn't know, so it's not my fault. So I feel like it's sort of like in Independence Day. Remember when they didn't tell the president, Bill Pullman, about the aliens because it was plausible deniability? I feel like they do a lot of that with Obama.
Whose job would it be to tell him, though? Because nobody wants, maybe they just said, who wants to go tell the president? Nobody
And
raised
nobody raised their hand.
Because
No
nobody does want to make that call, go down to the office, knock on the door and say, the website's not working.
Right, but
This is a-
shouldn't that guy at least be fired? The guy that's supposed to tell him something?
Yeah.
Like how does that stuff not get to the top?
Well, I mean, this is one of the great initiatives of his campaign.
Yeah.
So like you'd think that he would be a beta tester, President Obama, right?
At
Like,
least.
right?
Yeah. But no beta testing. They didn't even get that far.
I know.
All right, but so last question on this: how much of a big deal should we make this? I mean, this thing. Look, this is going to change the way America is for the near future and probably for the long-term future. So should we grant them just a couple weeks of website screwiness, or is this really a precursor to how the whole program?
I mean, for me, I think it's such an exciting thing that there's going to be a lot of Americans who had never had health care before. So for me, it's like, I don't want it to overshadow the fact that this is a really great moment in our history where people who had never been covered before are about to get covered. So I'm going to give it some time. I think that the detractors certainly wanted something like this to happen because it's easy for them to say, look, we told you it doesn't work. But websites crash all the time. My website crashes when we get insane amounts of traffic. When we're doing this, probably it's going to crash as well.
We're going to
on
crash
it, so-
YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. That's my take.
Yeah, I agree with Bryn. I think that uninsured Americans have waited long enough for it. I think that for them to work out the kinks, it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah. All right, and final thought on this. The shutdown apparently cost $24 billion to our economy, so maybe we could have used a little bit of that money for better web programmers. Hey guys, don't forget the Rubin Report's brought to you by Coupaw.com. They've got up to 75% off pet treats, toys, and more. And if you use code RR, you can get another 20% off. That's a lot off. There is a link in the description right down below. Code RR, 20% off. Make your pet happy.